The fact is that Labor does understand the importance of the shipping sector and the need to provide Australian seafarers with secure work. In government, we created the International Shipping Register, allowing operators of Australian flag vessels to employ mixed Australian and foreign crews on internationally agreed rates and conditions. We enacted the first major rewrite of the nation's maritime laws. That was consistent with the other work that we did on the National Port Strategy. We made sure that oil companies pay for any and all damage their ships may cause. We had to fix legislation to fix that. We replaced the myriad of laws that operated separately from state to state with just one national regulator administering one set of modern nationwide laws. By contrast, the Coalition have just completely undermined the Australian shipping industry. As I said at the outset, I'm all for certainty in legislation, but I'm also an advocate of job certainty for Australian seafarers and investment certainty for the Australian shipping industry. It is in Australia's economic, environmental and national security interests to maintain a vibrant Australian shipping industry. It is also the case that to give a comparison that I think is appropriate. If you operate, if you want to take freight from Sydney to Melbourne down the Blue Highway, you use a truck that's registered in Australia. You have a truck driver with an Australian licence. You are obligated to pay Australian wages. If you take those same goods down the Blue Highway, which is free from Sydney to Melbourne, you can have a foreign flagship with foreign wages, foreign conditions, regardless. Now, what that does as well as the Australian rail industry has pointed out is distort the market across transport modes towards foreign ships over Australian jobs in the rail sector in particular, but also the road sector. And that's a distortion that, again, undermines Australian conditions and wages. If we're going to compete in the Asian century, we can't compete on the basis of how low we can drive our wages. We need to compete on the basis of how smart we are, how innovative we are, how creative we are as a nation, creating the jobs of the future. This government doesn't seem to understand that, and in spite of the Reserve Bank saying that wages being reduced in real terms is a problem for the national economy, in areas like this what we see is that they have contempt for Australian industrial conditions. There should be no difference between the Blue Highway and the Hume Highway. It's a very simple principle of operation. The fact is that those opposite do want to replace the Australian flag on the back of Australian ships employing Australian seafarers with the white flag of surrender when it comes to Australian jobs, and it is much to their shame that they insist, after 5 years of destructive attitude towards Australian shipping, remain determined to pursue this course.